Some say Automobilista 2 is the chosen one. It will free us from our sim racing sims, pun intended, whilst others frown upon its lackluster force feedback and many unlicensed cars. But how good is AMS2 really, and how did Razer Studios push their project forward after the early access release in February? Let's find out in today's video on what happened to Automobilista 2. When looking in the rearview mirror, the Automobilista franchise surprises with a turbulent history. Brazilian games company Razer Studios landed a surprising success with the first installment of their franchise in 2015. Automobilista refined the SE motor engine, which was renowned especially for its use in R-Factor. Razer made themselves a name by tweaking the physics in their way and achieving a satisfying result in the process that's beloved by many in the sim racing community. AMS is considered a classic which set the bar relatively high for its successor. In February, Razer decided to work again with another bought-in engine, this time from the developers of the well-known Project Cars series, Slightly Mad Studios. The Madness engine offered the perfect playground for the Brazilians as it features a ton of customization options and beautiful graphics. So, does history repeat itself? Not quite. As stated earlier, Automobilista 2 entered early access in February 2020, but when the hype train arrived at the station, many were disappointed. In regards to physics, Razer kept their promise and delivered a realistic overhauled engine that seemed to calculate weight and forces precisely. The problem was that this wasn't translated very well to the force feedback and thus being more or less in vain. Claims of a lackluster feel in the rear tires and poorly transmitted grip levels made the force feedback just not feel right, yet there were also a lot of positive aspects. The graphics looked polished, dry and wet cycles were believable, and VR support was implemented flawlessly in the early release. Further, Razer promised to bring us not only ongoing updates based on user feedback, but a great number of DLC content for the future as well, including GT series, 90s DTM cars, and well-known tracks like Nürburgring and Hockenheimring. As you can see, the reviews were a mixed bag, and many sim racers decided to wait and see how their title would evolve in the future before reaching into their pockets. Luckily for us, the future is now, and we can investigate what changed since the beginning of the year. First up, we're going to take a look into AMS2's game modes. With its single slide in the main menu only offering 5 different modes for you to choose from, single race, test day, and time trial all being pretty similar to each other, only differing in how you approach your single player event. In single race, you can take on the AI on every track and in any car you desire without having to unlock anything. Test day is, like the name implies, a free practice where you can work on your skills on any course available. Additionally, you can compete against other players worldwide in time trial by beating your personal best on the leaderboard. Besides those 3 modes, AMS2 features multiplayer races and an offline championship mode. Multiplayer is fun and works after a number of updates to netcode, tick rate, and other stuff quite well. Open lobbies can be found in the server browser, even though the participation of the community has its limits as of today. Often, longer waiting times or half-full servers are the status quo, and on top of that, the most important feature of online racing games is completely missing: a solid ranking system. Other games like iRacing or Assetto Corsa Competizione showed that safety ratings and earned skill points ensure clean racing and improve the quality of battles on the track. Razer promised the implementation of such a system in the past, but postponed its deployment to December. In our opinion, this is going to be a make-or-break aspect of AMS2's future popularity, as only a well-crafted ranking system will keep players engaged for a long period of time. In earlier versions of Automobilista 2, players complained about the imprecise force feedback that made the alpha gameplay just not feel right. A lot has changed since then, and the force feedback has turned out for the better. Many small adjustments, for example to the dampers in April, transformed the already well-working physics to a thrilling experience you could feel through the wheel. To be honest with you guys, not every car drives realistically in AMS2, but driving on the edge in a car you like and feeling how the car reacts to your steering inputs is a real change of pace. Naturally, this is completely subjective, which is why you should try it out for yourself. We, for our part, really like it and are excited to hear that Razer is still fine-tuning the force feedback to date. Now that we made sure it drives well, let's find out if Automobilista 2 also looks the part. And as you've already seen, AMS2 has something going for itself there as well. Sure, other racing sims like GT Sport, ACC, or a fully modded Assetto Corsa beat AMS2 with ease, it does have its advantages and can look quite beautiful at the right time of day. A big benefit of its not-so-demanding graphics is the therefore boosted performance in VR mode. 90 frames are normally no problem for a mid-range PC, only at ultra settings or with demanding weather effects turned on will the game start to stutter. Content-wise, AMS2 shines thanks to the inclusion of authentic tracks of the Brazilian racing scene. Whoever thinks that Interlagos is already special has never heard of tracks like Curitiba, Guapore, or Campo Grande. This level of authenticity that Razer puts into their game makes AMS2 truly special. Circuits and cars are well crafted and paint a diverse roster that can keep you entertained for hours on end. Really, the only disappointment is the lack of some well-known tracks like Spa-Francorchamps, Monza, or the Nordschleife. Further DLCs and some free additions are planned for the upcoming months, so players can hope for the addition of their favorites in the future. So, in conclusion, Automobilista 2 is taking the right steps into an exciting future, but is still not at the end of its road. Many features that were implemented after the initial release enhanced the gameplay noticeably, but key points like a fair online ranking system and smaller features such as some of the well-known tracks are still missing. Either way, Automobilista 2 is worth a try and a fun alternative to all the other great simulation titles out there. That's it from me today, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to visit overtake.gg or our YouTube channel for more content like this one. Thanks for having me, and until next time, goodbye.